Well, damn, I bet the camera's not showing it, but I can't come close to touching the ground with how off-camera the road is. If you have a 30-inch inseam, damn well better be comfortable with putting down one foot or the other on a 790 Adventure R. Today marks the 10-week anniversary of the bike being at Mountain Motorsports. And I just want to mention that I think Mountain Motorsports in Sevierville, Tennessee provides excellent customer service. While my bike was sitting there for 10 weeks, these guys stayed in communication with me regularly, letting me know, all right, we did diagnostics, we sent it to KTM, we're waiting. Then they would call back a week later. Our apologies, we're still waiting. Then they would call back the next week. Okay, KTM got back to us, they'd like us to do this. And then they'd get back in touch with me. All right, it's been a week since we did what KTM wanted, and we're still waiting. So while I've spent 10 weeks without this motorcycle, a bike I had honestly hoped to sell quite some time ago, it's KTM's, I don't want to say fault, but the fact that they were dealing with KTM and waiting for information explains why the bike was out for so long. And what KTM came back with eventually was replace the main wiring harness. Now, this is a $780 harness if you buy it from KTM World, and I think it was $900 and change from the dealer because they buy it directly from KTM. They don't want to put other companies' parts on, which I understand. I'm not complaining about that. And when I said, all right, $1,000, that's kind of crummy for a part. Now, what are we looking at for installation? And he's like, man, 9-10 hours at least. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So we're looking at $2,500 or more. That's if the guy could do it, pulling everything off the bike, removing the main wiring harness, which goes from the frickin' light to the frickin' tail light, and then, hang on, you know, there is something I like about this bike. When I want power, it delivers. Don't pay any attention to that. It's obviously broken. I think I'm doing about 55. So, $2,500 plus to repair it. And honestly, if they had said, this is what we recommend as well, I would have bitten the bullet, eaten the $2,500, and then sold the bike. However, what the tech said to me is, I think that's a bit much. I think that is not a good first step. I would like to spend an hour trying to find the problem manually. And for an hour's labor, an investment of an hour's labor versus throwing out $2,500, $3,000, I'm like, buddy, I appreciate that. You go right ahead. And as it turned out, he went removing things until the errors went away, and he determined if I take this sub harness off, I don't get the error. So he calls me back and he says, I think we should replace this harness. If it is disconnected, I don't get the error. And I said, well, how much is this harness? You know, because the last harness I heard about was $900. And he goes, $150. I'm like, oh, dude, put that on. Now, we did unfortunately have to wait a week and a half for that harness to come in from KTM. Again, I gave KTM World a call. Those guys are great. She's like, I don't have one, but I'll have it in 2 business days. And I'm like, fantastic. I think they're going to get it directly from KTM, but I want the option of coming to get it. I called them back. And he said, hang on, let me see what I can do. We're trying right now. And he told me we'll have it in 2 days. So great. I'll pay the KTM price. I think it was $8 difference. They got the part in, they put the part in, and here we are doing 50 miles an hour down the highway. No error messages, no issues, and I'm like, thank you very much. And coming out of this experience, what I've learned is you need a good mechanic. You need a guy that's put his hands on a lot of bikes, and he's gonna use his experience and not just take the word of the manufacturer as this is the only thing you can do. Because it saved me. I paid $560 or around there. He saved me at least $2,000 by using his experience and saying, that could be it, but I don't know, man. There's a lot of other things. Because what he knew from his experience and what I learned when a mouse chewed out the electronics on my 390 Adventure this month is those damn error codes are generic as hell. When the mouse chewed my bike and 2 wires came into contact with each other, it threw up the exact same error codes this bike had. Now sure, that could have meant there's a grounding or a circle or whatever. That could have meant 2 wires were touching each other on the main harness. But there's several sub-harnesses, like the one he replaced. So KTM saying, just replace the most expensive electrical harness on the bike, that's going to require 10 hours to replace. We don't care. That's terrible. That's awful. So, Mountain Motorsports, Sevierville, Tennessee. I am so grateful that is where I took the bike. 10 weeks without the motorcycle, you know, I'm kind of pissed that KTM literally waited on more than one occasion 2 weeks to come back and say, yeah, hang on, we'll get back to you after this. That's not great service, KTM, not great at all. And if I had waited 10 weeks and spent $2,500, I'd be a lot less pleased than I am right now, being on my bike doing 45 miles an hour, having only spent money on a $150 part and some labor. Yeah, I kind of see why people get adventure bikes with over 100 horsepower. You know, that way you can maintain 55 like this. God, I hope my wife doesn't watch this video. But I just wanted to say the bike is back. I hope the bike is gone soon to someone who really wants a 790 Adventure. All right, I'm going to enjoy my highway ride back home, and I will talk to you folks later.